अच्छा, हाँ, गुड मॉर्निंग सर।
गुड मॉर्निंग।
हाँ सर, ये इट इज देयर, ये दिख रही है ये आपकी स्लाइड से। बस हमारे मैम भी आ गए हैं, 5 मिनट में आपको बुला लेते हैं। ये सर, इसको फुल स्क्रीन कर दीजिए आप।
कैसे करूं?
क्योंकि इस पे तो आपके मैसेजेस भी दिख रहे हैं।
ओह सॉरी, वो तो कोई बात नहीं, मैं हटाता रहूंगा उनको मैसेजेस को।
ये सर नीचे ऑप्शन होता है ना, ये नीचे कॉर्नर में देखिए ऑप्शन है, प्लस साइन है। दीपक, ये फुल स्क्रीन कैसे करते हैं? जैसे सर अपनी वहां स्क्रीन से फुल स्क्रीन कैसे करेंगे? हाँ सर, हो गया सर। नहीं, सर को करना है ना
फुल स्क्रीन।
नाउ इट इज ओके सर। गुड मॉर्निंग विकास सर। ओके ओके, थैंक यू। कहाँ से पता चलेगी हमें? बच्चा ऑन करेगा कोई? हाँ ओके सर, ओके।
मैं यूट्यूब लिंक पे मैं ट्राई करूं?
नहीं सर, आप तो यहीं रहेंगे गूगल मीट पे।
हाँ,
पता चलेगी हमें, बच्चा ऑन करेगा कोई? हाँ यस सर, हाँ इट इज गोइंग। आप जब एड्रेस करेंगे फिर मैं इधर बता दूंगी आपको, इस लैपटॉप से कर दूंगी। अभी आप उधर बैठ जाइए थोड़ा। दीपक मैम के लिए sir, our principal ma'am is also here now.
गुड, दैट्स राइट।
Dr.Archana Mishra. I am Dr. Dinesh. सर एक बार आप अपना ये शेयरिंग बंद करके, we want to see you live there.
ओके। Good morning, ma'am. Now you can see me.
Yeah, now we can see you.
नमस्ते विकास, कैसे हैं? एक्चुअली प्रॉब्लम ये हुई है, न्यू लैपटॉप में ना वो मीट वाला चला नहीं है। वो कह रहा है कि गूगल क्रोम पहले डाउनलोड करो, वो मैंने किया हुआ नहीं था उसमें। दैट्स द प्रॉब्लम। इट्स अ न्यू लैपटॉप।
और किसी टीचर
वो ज्वाइन नहीं करने दे रहा ना गूगल मीट पे।
उर्दू के टीचर नहीं आए।
अगर मैं यूट्यूब पे ज्वाइन करूं तो वहां से पीपीटी नहीं दिखा सकता, है ना? हाँ, वही बात है।
Okay, sir, ma'am, with the permission of our principal, ma'am, I want to start this workshop formally. Because sir, you are pinned there. मुझे pinned होना चाहिए था, आप pinned हो गए। Okay. Dear students, first of all, I request all of you mute your mics and videos. कोई भी बीच में अपना माइक और वीडियो ऑन नहीं करेगा, ओके? और ये जो आज की वर्कशॉप है वो आप लोगों के लिए लगाई गई है। हमारे बीच में कुरुक्षेत्र यूनिवर्सिटी से सीनियर प्रोफेसर हैं जो आपको एड्रेस करेंगे, आपको सिखाएंगे कि कैसे कहानी और कविताएं लिखते हैं। ये दिक्कत करेगा यहाँ पर ना। So, with the permission of our principal ma'am, I am going to start this workshop. And once again, good morning to everybody. I welcome all of you to this 2-day workshop on creative writing in English, which is ये क्या चल रहा है? Please don't create disturbance in between. So I welcome all of you to this two-day workshop on creative writing in English, which is organized by the Department of English, Govt PG College, Sector-1, Panchkula. I feel overwhelmed here to introduce all of you to our chief guest and Dr. Dinesh Dadhichi, Professor and Chairperson, retired, Department of English, Kurukshetra University, Kurukshetra, who besides being a teacher par excellence, is a renowned poet because he writes in 3 languages, English, Hindi and Urdu. He is a translator, eminent critic and guide. We are obliged to you, sir, for graciously accepting our humble invitation and accepting our request to apprise our students of the nuances of the creative writing in English. On behalf
Thank
of
you
the
so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. It gives me a great pleasure to join this meeting. In fact, the idea had started at a different level. I had just thought of addressing students only. Vineeta ma'am organized it in such a way as to expand its scope and to include teachers also. And so many teachers are there. Unfortunately, there is some technical problem here, but I'll definitely be able to do the whole thing properly.
Yeah, sir, that is your graciousness, sir.
So,
And
dear
on
friends,
behalf
we are
of Department of
good.
English and Govt PG College, Sector-1, Panchkula, I heartily welcome you, sir, to this two-day workshop. And presiding over the occasion is our worthy principal, Dr.Archana Mishra, RKSD, who has always motivated and encouraged us to move further and further ahead on the road of creativity, innovation, and progress. I would like to add here, sir, that besides her intellectual pursuits and administrative acumen, she is a keen environmentalist and a votary of morality and ethics, which is clearly discernible not only in her words and actions, rather her entire personality and her demeanor speak volumes of her love for Indian customs, traditions, and values. Sir, I am here reminded of your poem, which was lately in news, Evil. And I would like to quote a few lines from that poem here, that evil, it is present, pervading the pores of society. I hereby proclaim that we plan to annihilate it, every part and every bit. We shout against it from podia and rooftops. But at Govt PG College, Sector-1, Panchkula, sir, I am proud to tell you that we are not shouting only from podia and rooftops. And I feel no hesitation in claiming that our institution has waged a war very concretely and effectively against evil under the able leadership of our principal, ma'am. And she has, sir, started a society named The Quest, a search for harmony. And this is the first initiative, sir, throughout Haryana. And through this society, every effort is made to connect once again the staff and students to their roots and work for the moral uplift of society. We, the staff and students of Govt PG College Sector-1 Panchkula, feel lucky to have this opportunity to work under the able guidance of such a good leader and great human being, our principal, ma'am, Dr. Archana Mishra. I warmly welcome you, ma'am, to this workshop. Friends, I feel blessed to have the company of a few of our special guests here who have, ma'am, helped us in streaming live this workshop on YouTube channel. Dr. Vikas Bhardwaj here. Sir, I welcome on behalf of our department, our college, to this workshop, and we are thankful to you for this voluntary help that you gave to us. And last but not the least, I welcome all the budding writers, our young friends and our students who must be very eager to be face to face to their guide and mentor, Dr. Dinesh Dadhichi. I welcome all our guests who have joined us online either through Google Meet or YouTube link, and I hope for your full cooperation to make this event successful. Now I invite Principal Ma'am Dr.Archana Mishra to formally welcome our chief guest and the resource person, and also say a few word of blessings to our students. And sir, I would like to add here that ma'am is also a writer and she writes good poetry in Hindi language. So I request on behalf of the department, ma'am, please recite a poem also here. Thank you, ma'am. Over to ma'am Archana Mishra.
Good morning, everyone. Today on the line, in the online workshop on creative writing, I welcome Dr. Dinesh Dadhichi. He is retired as professor and chairman, Department of English, Kurukshetra University, and has a teaching experience of 44 years. His areas of specialization are American language, American literature, literature in translation, and critical appreciation of poetry. He has published 15 books in English and Hindi, and a number of research articles in reputed journals. Several books edited by him have been prescribed in the undergraduate classes in many universities. He is well versed in the art of translation and has translated many books from Hindi to English and vice versa. He has 7 collections of poems to his credit. He has been awarded Premchand Silver Medal as the best short story writer of Punjab University in 1971-72. He has also won Uday Bhanu Hans Kavita Puraskar in 2006, Baldev Kaushik Samman in 2009, Hindustan Gaurav Samman in 2016, and a number of other state-level awards for creative writing in Hindi. He has been nominated member of boards of studies for UG and PG in different universities for a number of terms. Member Academic Council and Faculty of Arts and Languages, Kurukshetra University, MDU, Rohtak, DCREST, Murtal, CBLU, Bhiwani, and BPS Mahila Vishwavidyalaya, Khanpur Kala. He has played an active role in Adabi Sangam, a registered body of literary writers of Hindi, Urdu, English, and Punjabi poets. Kurukshetra as a co-founder, member, and secretary. He has guided research work for MPhil, more than 60 dissertations he has guided, and PhD, 8 successful candidates he has given. And thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for presiding this workshop. Thanks a lot.
Ma'am, a poem, please. We'd
Yes,
like
please,
to,
ma'am, your poem.
Yeah, sir की request है ma'am.
एक महिलाओं की थोड़ा सा क्योंकि अब तो धीरे धीरे प्रोग्रेस होती जा रही है, उनकी स्थिति सुधरती जा रही है महिलाओं की, उसके ऊपर मैंने एक पोएम लिखी थी. शायद ये बहुत पुरानी है, 30 years old. सिर झुकाना छोड़कर तुम सिर उठाना सीख लो, घोर तम को छोड़कर तुम लौ जलाना सीख लो. तुम पुरुष के भाग्य का वर्चस्व सारा, तुम पुरुष के भाग्य का वर्चस्व सारा, तुम ही उसके काल का शैशव संजोती. चांदनी हो इस धरा की दो उजाला, चांदनी हो इस धरा की दो उजाला, तुम ही शिशु की नाल में सांसें पिरोती. शिशु बिलकता पास हो या हो थका यौवन बेचारा, तुम धरा का प्यार सारा एक आंचल में संजोती. पुत्र पति की वेदना हो, पुत्र पति की वेदना हो दुखी परिवार प्यारा, पहल करती तुम सदा, तुम ही पहल पल के डुबोती. गर छीन कर पतवार मांझी फेंक दे मझधार में, उस भंवर के वेग में नैया चलाना सीख लो। सिर झुकाना छोड़कर तुम सिर उठाना सीख लो। घोर तम को छोड़कर तुम लौ जलाना सीख लो। तुम प्यार का अमृत कलश निस्वार्थ का, तुम प्यार का अमृत कलश निस्वार्थ का, तुम गर्भ में 9 मास जीवन पालती। तुम हो वो तरवर फूलती तुमसे लता, तुम प्रेम का प्रतिदान कब हो चाहती। तुम हो वो तरवर फूलती तुमसे लता, तुम प्रेम का प्रतिदान कब हो चाहती। तुम हो परे अवहेलना अपमान से, तुम हो परे अवहेलना अपमान से, बस प्यार की झांझर चरण में डालती। कब शूल चुपते हैं कहाँ प्रतिकार है, कब शूल चुपते हैं कहाँ प्रतिकार है, तुम हो समर्पण तुम समर्पित मालती। घोर कलयुग बढ़ रहा रावण भरे उन्माद में, घूंघटों को छोड़कर खंजर चलाना सीख लो। सिर झुकाना छोड़कर तुम सिर उठाना सीख लो। घोर तम को छोड़कर तुम लौ जलाना सीख लो। अश्रुपूरित नेत्र से पग पग पे ठोकर खाओगी, अश्रुपूरित नेत्र से पग पग पे ठोकर खाओगी। हर पल पुलकते ठग यहाँ क्यों ही ऐसे कैसे बच पाओगी। तोड़ो ये बंधन पाश के छोड़ो शर्म अनजान की, तोड़ो ये बंधन पाश के छोड़ो शर्म अनजान की। है ब्याह भी सौदा यहाँ बेमौत मारी जाओगी। और नेत्र घर झुकते रहे निश्चय कुछ जल्दी जाओगी। अम्बे नहीं बन पाई तो हर पल यूं ही पछताओगी। तुम तो बनो पहचान अपने आप में, तुम तो बनो पहचान अपने आप में, अनुगामिनी बनकर कहाँ जा पाओगी। इन पलक के मोतियों को छोड़कर अपनी चुन लो राह, फिर पत्थर हटाना सीख लो। सिर झुकाना छोड़कर तुम सिर उठाना सीख लो। घोर तम को छोड़कर तुम लौ जलाना सीख लो। धन्यवाद।
Your reactions are... Hello.
बहुत सुंदर कविता सुनाई आपने मैम।
Thank you.
महत्वपूर्ण बात आपने, जो संदेश आपने दिया बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है आजकल। और मैं समझता हूँ कि इस कविता का हर शब्द जो है अनुकरणीय है।
हाँ सर, बहुत पुरानी है, शायद मुझे लगता है 30-35 ईयर्स पुरानी होगी,
लेकिन आजकल ये लागू होती है, आज भी ये
रिसर्च करती यूनिवर्सिटी
रेलेवेंट है हमारे लिए।
हाँ।
So, dear friends, with the kind permission of the chairperson, and
sir,
yes, please.
Let me invite you, sir, please.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot and this was a very wonderful poem, and we are very grateful to you that you blessed our students with your presence here. Friends, every human mind is the originator of ideas, and these ideas sprout and germinate in our minds. So everybody, I think, is a creator. But sometimes it becomes very difficult to give words to our imagination, to clothe the thoughts into beautiful garments is a very tricky exercise, and it needs specialized techniques and skills which are to be acquired under the tutelage of some master craftsmen who can bring out the latent potentiality of the youngsters into the sunlight. And one such counselor, I will like to say a potter here, is here with us today, who knows very well and who is well versed how to access and chisel the hidden potentials of the young minds. And sir, I would like to welcome here you with your own words, which I had just taken a screenshot from your this status. I would like to recite those few lines to welcome you here on the dais. यूं का यूं ही रहने दिया अगर तो भी सब बदलेगा ही, धूल कुछ उस पर पड़ेगी मौसमों की मार भी, सोचते रहने से एक दिन खत्म हो जाएगा सब, सोचते रहने से एक दिन खत्म हो जाएगा सब, नब्ज देखो वक्त की बदलेगी ये दुनिया तभी, छोड़ देने से ही चीजें बदनुमा हो जाएंगी, छोड़ देने से ही चीजें बदनुमा हो जाएंगी, क्यों न खुद आगे बढ़ो बदलाव लाने को अभी. This workshop is an effort in this direction, sir. And now it is over to you, over to Dr. Professor Dinesh Dadhichi. I welcome you, sir. Here.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think I am fortunate to have an opportunity like this to talk to my young students as well as my old students. Many of them are teachers, and I can see their names have appeared on the screen. I would like to start talking about creative writing. Can everyone see the screen sharing that I have shared? Okay. Can everyone see it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, sir.
It's visible to everyone. So, dear friends, we have already started talking about creative writing, and Principal Ma'am has recited a wonderful poem before all of you. So, I'm going to talk about how to proceed with creative writing. What is creativity? Here is an image that shows us creativity. You know, there are certain other words written here: idea, innovation. Different meanings are given to the word creativity. Okay? What is creative writing? You can see that I have given three things here, three points of identification. Generally, we use the word creative in these three different senses. Number one, we think about it as something imaginative. Anything that involves imagination is creative, and it is often unique. Uniqueness is one feature of creative writing, and it should be expressed in a poetic way, even if it is prose. There is something poetic about creativity. Then another thing that is involved here is your thinking. It should be thinking in a fresh way. Uniqueness and originality are necessary features of creative writing. For that, in order to think anew, you have to look at things from a new angle. And another thing is, you must experiment with language within the permissible limits. So these are the things we should remember when we are talking about creative writing. Thinking in a fresh way. There is an article on civilization in which this point has been made clear. C.E.M. Joad has written that article, and he says that even civilization cannot exist without thinking in a fresh way. We can think about new things. There can be inventions. There can be changes. Positive changes can take place only if we start thinking. Thinking is involved in all kinds of learning also, but particularly in creative writing, thinking in a fresh way and looking at things from should be able to express, to use language, to experiment with language within the permissible limits. In this context, I would like to quote from Petition, this poem by W.H. Auden. The first line is, prohibit sharply the rehearsed response. Look at things like this. Suppose you walk from your home to the market every day, or to, let's say, to your office or to your college. When you start from your home and go towards your college, your destination, on the way you see certain things, and how do you react to them? Suppose there are some trees on the two sides, both the sides of the road, or there is a marketplace or something else. Do you notice the small things that might have changed overnight? Do you notice the change of seasons? Do you notice anything that is happening along the way. Things happening are easily noticed, but changes that are taking place in you, that have taken place in your absence, may not be noticed in the same way, because mostly we don't pay attention to. I was surprised to know that some people failed to notice even when a tree had been cut along the way. They did not notice the absence of the tree. So the problem is our responses are rehearsed. We must have original responses to things. We must have fresh responses to things. Only then it will be possible for us to be creative. Here is an image. Okay, I would like you to look at this image. This is a morning scene in our university campus. I had gone for a walk and I happened to see this. Immediately, I used my camera, mobile camera, simple mobile camera, but the result was a beautiful picture. Morning scene. Now, you look at this image. Please take a look at it. Notice the things that you find here. Won't you love to write something about it? Won't you like to write a prose paragraph about it, at least, if not a poem? Most of the people have written poems, but there can be poetic prose also. And I'm sure every one of you will write about this scene in a different way. Creativity will be there in your expression. The trigger is the same. I'm providing you with a trigger. This is what we call a trigger. Anything that you see can arouse a kind of interest in you, can compel you to start writing about it. This is a visual which is concrete, which is there before you. So I would expect you to describe it. Something is happening if you look upon it from another angle. It can be a descriptive paragraph. It can be a narrative paragraph. What was there before the sun started rising and what happened when the sun rose. So it could be described like this. And here is one attempt made by one of my close friends, and I would like to share that attempt with you. Remember, look at this image, and here is a description of this image in a prose paragraph, which is highly creative. Let us read this paragraph together. And I see through my window, leaves obstructing my view of the rising sun. The sky seems just translucent and resplendent with crimson fields. I hear the birds too chirping in controlled decibels, which I am sure will rise with the rising sun. I also see the leaves forming a horizontal stretch and extent of a cloud, which again turns into a candy floss of yellowish pink. The sun's half circle abuts in the sky. The sun rays slither into the unlit, if not dark, corners or crevices, creases and furrows, with the entire ball of the sun going still up. I see the near transparent tree leaves, which leave me spellbound and nearly dazzled. Look at this description. He has deliberately used visual imagery throughout, because the scene is visual. And he has also imagined the chirping of the birds, which is not seen in the picture. So he has made additions to whatever he has seen, and I would like to draw your attention to the sounds of the words which he has chosen. He chooses words not only for their meanings,
but also for their sounds. Here is a lesson for you to learn. When you choose certain words for your writing, okay, don't just consider the denotation, take into account the connotations of the word also, and especially consider the sounds of the words. And I would just give you a hint about sounds here. You see, there is something that is called liquid sounds. L, M, N. These sounds are considered to be liquid sounds, but they are represented with the help of L, M, and N. Very few of us are are aware of this concept of liquid sounds. You will notice that this paragraph uses these three liquid sounds, L, M, and N, profusely throughout. Again and again, there are so many L's, M's, and N's here. You may not have noticed that, but you just make an attempt. Count the number of L, M, N that have been used in this paragraph. Dear friends, it's not by chance. Since you are students of literature also, I would like to draw your attention to this famous poem by John Keats, To Autumn. Okay? You might be having it with you, you must have read it, but I would like you to go back to the poem. Consider the first stanza of the poem. First stanza of the poem, To Autumn. Start counting L, M, N sounds. By the time you come to the last line of the first stanza, there are 3 double M's in that last line. Double M, double M, double M. Describing the activity of the bees. Okay? Their clammy cells, if you remember. So, dear friends, here is my first lesson to you. Pay attention not only to the meanings of words, to the denotation and connotations of words. Of course, connotations are important, but also to the sounds that the words make. I hope my point is clear. Particularly if you are describing something that is very delicate, L, M, and N sounds will come to your help. In Sanskrit, this is considered to be extremely important. And there is a kind of anecdote about it. Somebody was describing the trees that were there. There was a tree. And the same tree was described in 2 different ways, 2 sentences. One of them was studded with soft sounds. Another was full of harsh sounds. Some sounds, pa, ta, ka, for example, plosives, can be harsh. And I can give you example after example, but that would be critical appreciation, not creative writing. Think of how Coleridge, in the rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, describes the blowing of the wind. The white foam flew, the furrow followed free. You remember that? Okay? Why is it that he repeats fur sound? Of course, it is alliteration. But alliteration in which a particular sound is repeated, and that is fur sound, because when you pronounce fur, the wind blows from your lungs outside. Okay, fur. Because blowing of the wind is being described, fur sound is used. And on the same page, in the same poem, when stopping of the ship is to be described, because the water is stagnant, the ship cannot move, he again uses alliteration. You will be surprised, but this time the sound is different. Okay, and that the sound is like a painted ship upon a painted ocean. Why is he repeating the sound pa? Because when you say pa, the mouth is closed. Pa. Okay, the mouth has to be closed. Because the wind has stopped blowing, there is a blockage here. He uses the sound first. That was all just by the way, dear friends. But I hope my point is clearly explained now. Moving on to the next slide. What is the process of writing? What is the process of writing? The process of writing involves I'm sorry for this disturbance. Oh God. Pre-writing, and it includes purpose and audience, brainstorming, form. Then writing, this is followed by the next stage, writing, responding. Writing is followed by responding, and you can just take a look at this. Organization, writing involves organization, voice, word choice, sentence fluency. Okay, responding, this is the next stage, teacher-peer conference, self-peer evaluation at this stage, response, and then it is revised after this. Revision involves clarifying, reorganizing, refining, and using more precise language. This can be followed by editing, and editing is followed, as you know, by publishing or sharing. Bulletin board, so many platforms are available now, and we can website, performance, authors chair, so many possibilities are there. So dear friends, let us now consider this, the writing process. What are the 5 stages in the writing process? Number 1, preparation, as you can understand easily. Rough draft. Number 3, revision. When you have prepared your rough draft, you revise what you have written, and then followed by editing and vetting, and then the final copy is prepared. Let us now consider them one by one. I'll go into details. Please notice, note down, these 5 stages are there in the writing process. And in fact, this does not specifically apply only creative writing, it applies to all kinds of writing. When you start preparing for writing, the first thing you do is to organize your thoughts. You follow a particular idea on, regarding something on a particular topic, and that idea seems promising. You feel you should write about it, you can write about it. For example, you looked at that image of the morning sun. This idea is called the trigger. Whether it is a visual or something else that inspires you to think. So when an idea comes to your mind, at the stage of preparation, brainstorming should be the next step. Cognate ideas that are related to it. Let them come to your mind. Let there be a free association of ideas, no problem, because this is how your mind is preparing itself for writing. Then you can use a graphic organizer. Now, what is a graphic organizer? People have different ways of organizing their thoughts. One useful method is to have something on the page on a sheet of paper in the form of a map. Some people like to make maps. Others like to have illustrations, sketch. Some people like to make sketches. It depends on how you find it better, how you find it more convenient. Scribbled notes are more helpful to some people. Feel free to use the method that suits you. But always, it is very helpful to use a graphic organizer. Okay? Whatever you write, have a graphic organizer before you write. The trigger that was, and a sort of image to show you. The trigger is like the switching on of a bulb. You switch on a bulb and it starts giving light. Graphic organizer jottings are like this. This is just an example from the internet. Okay, so this is how you connect, make circles, write something, connect them in different ways according to your own habit and your own method. Okay, that was preparation. Now we come to the next stage, that is rough draft. When you come to this stage of rough draft, begin writing on the basis of your graphic organizer. Use it as a kind of a source for yourself. And here is something. Remember to show rather than tell. I would like to draw your attention to this distinction between showing and telling. If you allow me, I would like to show. When I say show and tell, please remember that I am not referring to that famous essay by Wayne C. Booth, Showing and Telling. Of course, teachers will be reminded of that. But the Rhetoric of Fiction by Wayne C. Booth. If you allow me, I would like to show something to you. There will be a break here, but I think that will be very helpful. Shall I show something to you? Here is something from Google. Telling. Here is an example of telling. This comes from Jerry Jenkins, the Simple Guide for Writers. He says, show, don't tell. Telling का example देखिए. Here is an example. When they embraced, she could tell he had been smoking and was scared. This is telling. The same thing is being described by showing. When she wrapped her arms around him, the sweet staleness of tobacco enveloped her, and he was shivering. Okay? So this is an example of the contrast between the two methods, telling and showing. And a very telling example, I would say. Thank you, dear friends. Now we'll continue that discussion on rough draft. So remember to show rather than tell. I hope my example will make it clear. Jenkins' example will make it clear. So be careful that you should be showing rather than telling. Showing is always better. As you noticed in that prose paragraph also, it is the images that are used should involve our senses. That is what it means. It comes to. Don't try to make it perfect at this stage, because this is a rough draft. Don't expect too much from a rough draft. Okay, moving on to the next slide. Revision, the stage of revision. Obviously, revision would involve reading what you have written. Read the rough draft in whispers to yourself without disturbing others, concentrating on what you have done. Use a pencil and ask yourself these questions. These questions, 4 questions,
And all the 4 questions are important because you have written something in prose or poetry also. Does it make sense? Look upon your attempt from the reader's point of view. Become a reader. Forget that you have written it. Okay? Does it make sense? That will ensure coherence. These are the qualities that should be there in a piece of writing. First is coherence. It should make sense. Secondly, unfortunately, this problem arises in the case of poems many times, surprisingly. People write a beautiful poem from their angle, it's beautiful. It doesn't make sense to the people. Modern poetry, for example, like modern art. Okay. Are the sentences interlinked? That is called cohesion. Okay. They should be interlinked. And there are different ways. You may give signals relating to vocabulary, relating to grammar, to indicate the relationship between sentences, different sentences in a paragraph. Now we are talking about an ideal paragraph. Unfortunately, dear friends, in our schools and colleges, grammar books and even teachers' efforts are concerned mostly with teaching students about the elements of grammar like noun, verb, okay, and phrase. At the most, they come to sentence. Then different types of sentences are discussed. Changing the voice, changing the form of narration. All these things are there. Unfortunately, the form in which English is actually used in real life is not that of sentences. English is used in paragraphs. And we don't generally talk about the structure of paragraphs and the things that are needed for a good paragraph. We don't teach our students to write paragraphs. We generally talk only about sentences. Generally, I would say, there may be some good exceptions to this. And the third question is everything related to the topic? That is very important. Unity must be there in the paragraph. The whole paragraph should talk about one thing, which can be summarized in one sentence. Okay? Anything you need to add to bring about completeness, because you are revising, okay? You must make it complete if something is lacking. I think these points are clear. Moving on to the next slide. These are some revision tips. You may not be able to see all of them, but they are available on the internet, and I have just taken this image from the internet. So you will find so many such things. Revision tips are there, add variety, okay, and go public. Then rise early, relax, look ahead, believe in bananas, or things like that, quality time, all these tips are available on the internet. So that was just an example. Revision tips are also available. That brings us to the next stage of writing. Editing. Editing means using pencil, your pencil, for spelling and punctuation, etc. Okay, these are minor things and you should be able to do this. Some certain things you may not have noticed while you were writing, revise it. Make additions to improve the draft. Always, at every point while you are editing, think about how it can be improved, because there is always scope for improvement, and good editing involves reconsideration of whatever has been said. Okay. Look for irrelevant details. Is there something irrelevant and avoidable repetitions maybe there? Consider not only the sense of your writing, but also the sound. I have already explained it to you, which should be appropriate to the theme. Harsh themes would require harsh sounds, and soft, delicate themes would require delicate sounds, like what I call liquid sounds. Read the draft aloud to yourself to ensure that the sound is also good. And use your ears while you are speaking. Listen as you speak. Okay? So these are the points you should keep in mind while editing. Now your final copy is prepared, and prepare a neat final copy having pleasant appearance. Margaret M. Mason has given 6 P's for a good piece of writing. 6 P's she has mentioned: pleasant appearance, proper choice or selection of topic, pleasant appearance, paragraphs, perspicuity, means clarity of expression, things like that, and then something like this. She has given 6 points, all beginning with P, in her book Examine Your English. Margaret M. Mason, Triple M. Interestingly, Dadhichi has written the preface to that book. Examine Your English is a very useful book. Consider the size of your paragraphs. There should be some variation, of course, but no contrast in the length of the paragraphs. I think it is undesirable to use a too long paragraph. People are looking for change, okay? And this may be monotonous if you use too long a paragraph. Here is another specimen of prose writing. It's in fact from a short story. Short story, the last paragraph, I think last but one, that is how the story ends. Consider this. The 12 shots came at once. Monsieur Sauvage fell forward, face downwards. Monsieur Morisot, who was taller, spun round and dropped across his friend's body. Blood flowed out of the holes in their clothes. The soldiers fetched ropes and stones which they tied to the feet of the 2 friends. 4 of them carried the bodies to the river bank. They swung them back, 1, 2, 3, and let them go. The bodies flew through the air and, being weighted at the feet, sank immediately. After the splash, the ripples spread out to each bank, and the water became calm again. Coming from a master's pen, Maupassant, 2 friends, that's the title of the short story. Let's consider this paragraph. Oh, there is so much to discuss here. It's a scene of killing of 2 friends by certain soldiers of the enemy. 12 shots, okay. Notice how the numbers are used here in this paragraph. 12, 1, 4, 2, 3, like this. Everything is factual. There is an overemphasis on factuality of it, on facts. And the writer makes sure that everything is meticulously, correctly presented here. That he doesn't allow you to get confused at any level. Everything is, and this is also visual. Another thing I would like you to notice is how about some change. The 12 shots came at once. And what should happen next when the shots are there? The targets would fall down. They fell. And after that, what should happen next? There is a sequence of things happening. And something is happening in every sentence. Notice one more thing. All the verbs that have been used in this paragraph involve some change. All the verbs involve some change. All the verbs involve change. The 12 shots coming, and then fell. Move, not only change, but also movement. movement is there, spun round. Dead body is moving, spun round, dropped across his friend's body. Okay, blood flowed. The blood is moving, flowing out. Soldiers fetched, action, movement, change. These are the features of these verbs. The choice of the verbs: tied, action, carried the bodies, swung them back, movement, and the dead bodies are moving. They are flying in the air, flew through the air, and being weighted at the feet, sank. Dead bodies go down. Okay, there is a splash. Look at the sound. The visuals are there. Images, senses are being, there is an appeal to the senses. Things appear before your eyes. Okay, and till the last sentence, some kind of change, some kind of movement is occurring at every step. Spread out to the ripples, spread out to each bank. And there is a beautiful finish. The water became calm again. It is a war scene, okay? What would you say? He is giving a factual description. It is a scene of gruesome killing, death. But consider one thing, the writer's tone. It seems as if something normal is happening. Some operation is being described which is something common. Okay? There is nothing, no emotions are expressed at any stage. The writer could have chosen to wring tears in the eyes of the audience. No, he doesn't. That is his choice. Okay? You may try to make people emotional, but you may also choose another method by making them deeply realize and understand what is wrong here by not highlighting emotions at all. There is a kind of understatement here. Look at this. Blood flows not out of their bodies, out of the holes in their clothes, as if nothing serious. If blood is flowing from the holes in the clothes, what is wrong with it? There is nothing wrong. Everything is happening as if it were a natural thing. Okay? Nothing wrong with it anywhere. And finally, when he says, the ripples spread out to each bank and the water became calm again. Well, there was some disturbance and now the water is the same. Nothing has been affected, no change, no emotions, no feelings. But at a very deep level, he seems to be asking us, is it really something good? Is it really something desirable that people should be killed like this? He seems to be asking us. He makes us raise questions about everything appearing so normal. Okay? It is not normal. Our soul immediately responds. Our heart immediately responds. No, it's not normal. This is wrong. But the writer has achieved this effect by adopting many techniques. And if you have read this paragraph carefully, you will notice there is much more that I have not yet explained, that I have not yet discussed with you, but you must be feeling its presence there. I hope my point is clear. There must be 4 basic considerations. Topic, thesis, what you want to prove, theme or subject, whatever. It has to be there. Then when you start writing, ask yourself, what is the purpose? Purpose of writing should be there. Audience, consider the audience. For whom is your writing meant? For whom is your writing meant? Okay, audience, and for finally, special circumstances of the situation. So have these 4 basic considerations in your mind. We come to the next point. Purpose or intent. I have talked about purpose. All these 4 will be discussed now. By purpose, I mean, why are you writing this? Whether it's a prose piece, it's a short story, it's a descriptive paragraph, or an argumentative paragraph, what is it? Are you trying to persuade people, to convince the reader of a certain point of view? Then comes the question of how you will do that. Do you want to entertain people? Do you want to inform them about something? How best to inform? Because there are ways of informing them. Do you want to express your own feelings? Okay? So, in this way, purpose or intent must be clear to yourself. Ask yourself honestly, what do I want to do with this piece of writing? Don't just start writing. Purpose is important. Intent. The prospective audience, the four things that I have just mentioned. How old are your readers? What is their orientation? How much educated are they? I mean, keep in your mind the possible readers of your writing. What is their background? Their socio-economic status. Very important. Okay, so consider your audience. For many of you are going to pursue your career in content writing. You have to keep in mind the socio-economic status of your audience. Okay? Any piece of writing is not meant for everyone in the world. No. The writer definitely has a kind of reader in his mind. Okay? Shaping up. How to give shape to your ideas. Grouping similar ideas together. These are some of the techniques. Rejecting non-essential elements, whatever can be rejected. Select an appropriate tone, as I was telling you. There is a short story by Khushwant Singh, The Mark of Vishnu. I don't know how many of you have read it, but if you have read it, you will remember that in that short story, he describes rainy season in one paragraph. Throughout the paragraph, nothing seems to happen. Okay? Only rain is being described. The monsoon season in India is being described. Now, I would like to say something. Narration is more likely to attract the attention of the audience than pure description. Since you must be readers of novels also. When you read a short story or particularly a novel, suppose there is a paragraph in which there are no dialogues and no actions taking place, no narration is there. There is only description of a scene. You are likely to skip that. But Khushwant Singh makes sure that the audience don't skip the paragraph. And he makes sure that you remain involved in the description of the rain. You should read that paragraph carefully and you will find an answer to this. So select an appropriate tone, and ordering of your ideas should also be taken care of. Okay? Put them in a certain order, a logical order. Sometimes you may use flashback also or things like that. I'm sorry. Outline your key points. You must have in your mind the key points that you have discussed and the other points that you are going to discuss next. Okay? So outline your key points. There is I would say this is something scholarly. There is a book by Erich Fromm. I liked Erich Fromm's style of writing. It is just wonderful. It was Escape from Freedom. In his Escape from Freedom, I noticed that he writes very simple sentences. Every next sentence brings about some addition to your thought, to thought process. And finally, when he is going to start a new chapter, he would summarize the previous chapter. we had arrived at this point, and from now we are going to this point. Another thing that I am just reminded of right now, dear friends, on the, so you go to Google and check by writing preface to the autobiography of Bertrand Russell. It is just one page. Preface, something like that. Preface or some other word may be there, but I think it's that. It's easy, just one page. Only 5 small paragraphs are there. Please read that page very carefully. If you want to learn something from a great scholar like Bertrand Russell, he was not only a philosopher, a great thinker and a mathematician and a pacifist, but he was a great writer also. His autobiography, just read that first page. In the very beginning, he makes it clear what he is going to say, what he is going to talk about. And then there are 3 things which he talks about, which means first paragraph, introduction, followed by 3 paragraphs. Okay, one by one he talks about them. And finally, there is a concluding 1 or 2 lines that are there. That brings it to an end. Complete piece of writing and a kind of lesson for everyone to learn is there. Okay? So I'm just reminded of that. I'll try to make it available to you next time, but tomorrow. But meanwhile, you may try to find it. It is there on the internet. Okay? So, shaping up, we come to this point. Grouping similar ideas, rejecting non-essential elements, selecting an appropriate tone, ordering of, I was talking about ordering of ideas, which reminded me of Bertrand Russell. Then outline your key points. Finally, I'm coming to the last slide. Thank you so much, dear friends, for today. But that is not the end, because there should be a kind of question answer session which I find most interesting. So, dear friends, here I have completed the first part of my workshop on creative writing. Tomorrow we will go into further details. It was a kind of preparation, and I hope you found it interesting. I tried to make it interesting. There are so many things that I loved so much. I wanted to share them with you, and I'm glad I have been able to do it in spite of technical difficulties here. One more thing, may I add? I've just come to the finish, but I'm just reminded of one more thing. Dear friends, I want to share that with you. Here is I would like to draw your attention to. Here is this. This is Dorothy Parker says, I hate writing. I love having written. And there is something else, and you will find it better, find it even more. There are 2 types of writers, the architects and the gardeners. The architects plan everything ahead of time, like an architect building a house. They know how many rooms are going to be in the house, what kind of roof they are going to have, where the wires are going to run, what kind of plumbing there is going to be. They have the whole thing designed and blueprinted out before they even nail the first board up. The gardeners, on the other hand, dig a hole, drop in a seed and water it. They kind of know what seed it is. They know if planted a fantasy seed or mystery seed or whatever. But as the plant comes up and they water it, they don't know how many branches it's going to have. They find out as it grows. and I am much more a gardener than an architect. That is what George R.R. Martin says. So, dear friends, please decide whether you are a gardener or an architect. Okay, do it, work according to your, work according to your own talent. So, dear friends, that's all for today, dear friends, but I would like you to ask questions, to give your observations, to make your precious comments on what we have done so far, so that tomorrow I may be able to perform better. Thank you.
Thank you so much for a very informative and enriching session, sir. This is Harpreet from Department of English, Government PG College, Sector-1, Panchkula.
Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, the kind of clear illustration which you have given during your session to highlight and to reiterate what all needs to be kept in mind for doing creative writing has been really wonderful. And one thing which you emphasize, that we need to show rather than tell, and we need to stimulate the senses of the readers as they read a piece of writing, is something which has really resonated with me. I am a novice in this field, and I have started attempting writing poetry, and I have to learn so much from you as your student. And another thing, keeping the audience in mind when you write, and knowing their orientation, and also knowing their background, socioeconomic background, their education level, and each step, each point you have very beautifully articulated to, sir. The example given from the story has really struck me hard. I'm still not able to come out of the scene, Yes, I mean, the friends, the killing, such a gruesome killing, such a brutal killing, and the sense, the normalcy, and a sense of unaffectedness in the narration, deliberately done to jolt the reader's conscience, and that really affects the ending. The water became calm again, as if nothing has happened. Life goes on as it was going on earlier. So without even bringing out the emotional turbulence in the audience, he has done a wonderful job. And we see how writers adopt various strategies in not only bringing out the sense, but also using the sound, correct sound, that reinforces the meaning, contained in the writing. So all those things were really nice to learn and to know. And you have really, and the picture which you showed from the university campus, so that will stay in my mind forever. And
thank you so much.
So I would really like to thank you for this beautiful session, sir. We have learned a lot, and we really I look forward to the session tomorrow also. And I will come prepared. I'll do some homework, as you have given so many references. You've given us clues to work on. Khushwant Singh's story, the description of the rainy season, I'll definitely search for it and look at it today. And the Bhardwaj's autobiography also, I'll definitely work on it, and I'll find out what else I can, do to bring certain questions, which as a layperson are there in my mind. But then when I look at it from the point of creative writing and sit down with the pen and paper in hand with certain trigger in my mind, so where do I get stuck, and what things I need to learn from you to give it a nice shape. So with this, I take this opportunity to start the question answer round with your permission, sir. Those of all those students and all those learned colleagues who have joined us in this session today, I thank them, and I would like to seek your permission for the question answer round, sir. Could we begin it?
Sure, why not?
Okay, thank you so much, Dinesh sir. So, those who have attended this session, please, you can type your questions in the chat box and we can take them one by one. Sir is there, he has a lot of expertise and he is a very chiseled writer, and we have so much to learn from him and share with him, as he has said, because there might be many people here who have joined who are already into creative writing and have got their books also out, whether it's fiction or whether it's poetry. So you're please welcome.
Thank you so much for these words of appreciation, Harpreet ma'am. I'm
Sorry,
so
sir.
glad that you liked it. And
No,
I'm
I loved it.
waiting
I totally loved it.
for students' observations, comments, and questions.
जी सर, स्टूडेंट्स आप जितने जुड़े हुए हैं साथ में, प्लीज यू कैन टाइप योर क्वेश्चन इन द चैट बॉक्स. You can share your doubts when it comes to creative writing. You have been in touch with the literature, whether it's stories or novels or poetry. I mean, reflects life around us, is a criticism of life also. As I said, there is a purpose behind writing. It can be meant for the purpose of persuasion, or maybe for the purpose of pure expression, subjectivity, or maybe for the purpose of informing, or bringing a transformation in people, right? So,
yes.
आपके दिमाग में जो भी प्रश्न आ रहे हैं, so chat box में आप डाल दीजिए. I have one question, sir, from among the students who have joined us offline here. There's one student, Krishan, from postgraduate diploma in translation, and he's right here. So, Krishan, you can also come and. वहाँ से दिख रहा है वो बच्चा आ ही रहा, आप देख रहे हैं. हाँ जी, हाँ जी.
Oh yes, I can see.
Yeah. So I would like you to rather put your question. I give this opportunity to you, please.
Good morning, sir. Thank you so
Good
much for this.
Yes.
My question is that.
Yes, Krishan.
Sir, my question is that what is the difference between Hindi poem and English poem literature, and what is the criteria used to write a poem, like metaphors, matra, meters of poems, rhyme, rhythm? Is it also used in English?
Krishan, this is very interesting because I have 2 or 3 slides on this topic to show tomorrow.
Yes,
so please wait till tomorrow. We'll talk about poetry just a little bit. Poetry actually requires a specialized discussion, and this is mostly dedicated to prose. But I'll definitely talk about poetry a little bit, and I'll show you how in all kinds of poems, means in different languages, in Urdu, in English, in Hindi language. Of course, the use of language is a common feature, but there are different poetic qualities, okay, which are common to all of them. Okay, for example, metrical, meter, but the way in which meter is used is different. Okay.
Yes, you already tell us.
I can assure you, we are going to talk about it tomorrow. So
okay,
you will have to wait till tomorrow, because incidentally I had 2 or 3 slides are there pertaining to the topic that you have raised a question on. Thank you, dear Krishan.
There are a lot of words of appreciation on YouTube channel also, which is live streamed by Dr. Vikas Bhardwaj here. I would like to
I'll read them later on. Yes. Thank you for all, for everyone. Thanks for appreciation, for your compliments. I can understand. And of course, your questions also. I hope there will be some questions also. And I'll go through those questions in the form of comments.
Thank you, Dadhichi sir, for enriching us about the minute details of creative writing. We, along with our students, learned many steps which help us in writing a piece of art. Thank you, Vikas Bhardwaj, Dr. Vikas Bhardwaj, and all teachers attached with this workshop, and all the students and all the participants who participated through YouTube channel. Thank you, sir, for this informative session.
Thank you. Thanks,
Friends,
everyone.
this session will continue tomorrow also at sharp 11. We will start it, and it will be live streamed on YouTube channel also, and that will be just a sort of practice session. Perhaps, sir, will you please guide us?
Keep your notebooks ready tomorrow. Keep your notebooks ready. I'll give you
There is
ideas
no-
and we'll.
So there is homework for everybody, and with these words we part. And thanks a lot, sir, and all the our dear colleagues who have joined us through YouTube channel also, which is live streamed by Dr. Vikas Bhardwaj, Associate Professor, RKSD College, Kaithal. Thank you, Vikas.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
sir.
Okay.